How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to talk about stress and anxiety and two things that you can do to reduce this. So, what is stress and anxiety? Well, it can really come, from my opinion, two different things. One, we can be worried about events that happened in the past. This is really unhealthy because I mentioned this in the mindfulness video, but when we're thinking about certain thoughts, those neurons that fire together wire together. So the more times you run that negative emotion and that whole loop that occurred to you, or you're ruminating about how that person wronged you, or how you were right, or you should have said this, or you would have done this, whatever it is, and you continue to run these angry, more negative emotions, your body's sinking that in. You're reinforcing that pathway. It's like continuing to ski or snowboard down that same path. It's going to really get grooved in. So we don't want to do that. The other thing is thinking about future events, being really anxious about the future. And that's even worse, in my opinion, because you haven't experienced it and you have no clue what it's going to be like. And you're robbing yourself of all the present moments leading up to that. Where, number one, in those present moments, you could be doing something proactive to make sure you're definitely not anxious about it. And whatever that event is just goes great. But number two, you're really robbing yourself from your true potential, in my opinion, because if you're really anxious about it going into it, you're just not going to perform the way that you could, especially maybe that's a speaking engagement or a competition. You know you're not at your best when you're super anxious and worried. So why rob yourself of that performance that you know you can have? We're going to talk about two things that you can do to kind of safeguard from that. But I'm going to talk about the system in our brain neurologically that kind of creates this response. And that's called your reticular activating system, or your RAS. So what this does, it acts as a bridge between your subconscious brain and your conscious brain. And what that means is your reticular activating system is linked up to all of your senses except smell. So what that system does is highlight things for you, especially things that you should be aware of that could be dangerous. So when we're in more of a negative mindset, that reticular activating system almost acts, as an extension of your fight or flight system. So it's going to definitely bring to mind things that can be a threat to you. So especially when we're ruminating or anxious about the future, that system is going to be fully active and it's going to bring up everything that could go wrong. Oh, what if I fall off stage? What if I forget to wear shoes? What if all these things that would never happen, but they start to creep into our mind. Because that system is just highlighting everything negative that could happen. But the cool thing about that system is we can use it in the opposite way. So when we meditate in the morning and you finish that meditation, if you take a few seconds and just set a couple positive intentions, like I expect to have a great day, I expect great things to happen to me today, whatever you want to say that makes you feel good, that is also going into that reticular activating system so it can start to highlight some of the great things of your day or some of the abundance that you experience. Maybe you're only thinking about finance and then you realize like, wow, I have a lot of people that care about me in my life. That's pretty cool. Or, wow, I'm really blessed to be in such an awesome place. There's a lot less, desired places to be. So whatever it is, it's going to help highlight some of these things and put you in a more positive light. So the two techniques that you can use, they're both breathing techniques. Number one is taking 6 deep breaths and breathing in as slow and controlled for as long as you can, and then breathing out slow and controlled as long as you can. It's been proven that 6 deep breaths is enough to change our blood pressure. So that'll help ground you into that present moment. So you're not thinking about the past, you're not thinking about the future. We lower the blood pressure so that reticular activating system has a little less feedback to go off of, and we can set into that more positive intention. The other one that you can do is called cage breathing, where when I breathe in, I'm going to count 4 seconds, I'm going to hold for 4 seconds, and breathe out for 4 seconds. The trick with this one is, if you're like myself, and even within the 6 breaths, you sometimes lose your train of thought or get distracted, the cage breathing is really helpful because there's a built-in distraction. When you do the counting, it's hard for me consciously to think about a lot of other things or worry about the past or the future. So I can't wait for you guys to implement these tips. Use it. to help lower and reduce anxiety. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.